Good morning, everyone. It's Lee Bailey and Derrick Pearson to bring you Be Encouraged this morning. As I wrote, Derrick, on the thing, I said, join us for some small encouragement and maybe a little bit of a look at the Super Bowl. So
I think we can handle that.
I think we can deal with that today.
Yeah.
So how are you? How was your weekend, my friend?
It was a busy weekend here in Nebraska, in Lincoln, Nebraska. Basketball teams here getting back at it. Volleyball, they've got wrestling going on. And then the Super Bowl, we had an event here that was pretty successful, masked up. Everybody was covered, even while they were in the place. They kept them on and socially distant. Everybody was safe. So we did that. And then we've had 6 days of snow. And today I get up and the thermometer says it's 15 below. And it feels like it's 15 below. And I went, no kidding. So we're supposed to stay. I think the high for the week is going to be 0.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, for all of the Northern Virginians who we are expecting about the same storm, I think. And who knows, it might go north like sometime. We never know with jet streams that come in to Washington area, if it's going to go a little north or a little south, or we might get anything at all. Who knows? We'll see when it happens.
We got 14 inches, and then we removed that, and then the next 2 days we got 7 inches overnight.
Each day.
Yeah. So that's what's coming.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we're here in Fairfax, Northern Virginia area, and that's what this show is specifically designed to reach, even though we reach anybody anywhere in the world. But I've always wanted to have a hometown station, both radio and TV, as it were, video, because I want to start doing local sports, which our news agencies in this area are all geared on world news. They're all geared to Washington, D.C., what's going on in Congress, what's happening. It's all geared to that. Whereas in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where they have I think 80,000 people is their population. Yeah, they're 80,000 people population. They lead every news story or every news night with local high school sports, and they close every night with local and high school sports. And we don't do any of that here on our stations that are around. So we have 3 million people in Northern Virginia. So, I'm like, we got to have something to help these kids to, give them a little bit of a attaboys and stuff like that for all the work that they do. These athletes, these scholar athletes need to get that recognition that where they get it everywhere else in the country. And you think, and you see that not as many people from the Northern Virginia area go on to D1 schools as other areas. And it's not because we don't have the talent here. I mean, we've got a lot of talent here. Don't you think that there's a little bit of something there?
Well, it was interesting. You said that there aren't a lot of D1s. There actually are.
No, I know there have been, sure. But not like, Tallahassee, or you want to go somewhere else in Florida. There's it seems like every high school has 5 or 6 guys going.
Different talent pools and different legacies where you've got guys who played in the Super Bowl. It's their sons now who are down there, and they stay down there. And there's benefit to being in Florida and Texas because the weather allows you to participate in those sports over a greater period of time. Yeah. But Northern Virginia, look, there's some programs that are mass producing Division One players. You go out to Centerville and Westfield and Broad Run and those folks. They're putting guys out there.
That's right. You're right. And I'm not trying to.
From Westfield, he's at Michigan State. And Miles Thompson, son of Barry Thompson, he's in the Ivy Leagues, for goodness sake. So it's there, but you're right. It requires constant feeding. No fruit grows without labor and love and constant reminder to grow. And there are places in that area where that doesn't necessarily happen. You're in the nation's capital. You're in the most powerful city in the world. So, there's a lot going on. But those young people, and especially on pandemic, where some opportunities were missed. Kids didn't get to play. I mean, you're just starting your football practice Monday. So, so you'll have spring football, and I'll hope that everybody does well by that everybody does what they're supposed to do.
Right, exactly.
Fingers crossed that we all do what we're supposed to do. But yeah, to have the voice and have a place where coaches can go, parents can go to voice, hey, here's some support for programs and otherwise. And as you know as well as anybody, what moves this is if the parents want coverage, that'll move coverage. But they have to be loud in their request for it. So keep asking, keep plugging.
Yeah, no question. And I wasn't like, we have excellent talent, and we have talent that we have coaches that work really hard at getting their kids out there, and seen by college coaches and whatnot. I know, having worked in the school system, the college coaches swing through the school every now and again, more so in Robinsons and Lake Braddocks and Broad Runs and things like that than in Falls Church or Jeb Stuart. But those two schools have had some great players. We have players playing from Virginia Tech, and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, but my whole thing is, you get down there in the other areas, and they're televising the game, And I know it's working for Channel 10 Sports and Fairfax Sports Network. When we went and did games, those kids were hyped because they were going to be on TV. I mean, they were hyped up, and it was like an extra notch. They cranked them to 11. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about having TV crews out there doing video, showing it on the internet, whatever, and that gonna just really put a little bit of more. I think it gives you a little bit more. I mean, even though you're at this level, it gets you this level. When you're. And the coaches do it too. The coaches tell me, we love when you come out and do our games because our kids get so hyped up for it.
I don't remember when I was at Woodson. Certainly not when I was at Falls Church, but when I was at Woodson, I don't remember anything other than regional and state being televised, and we were good.
No, yeah, no. See,
good.
That's
and
our executive producer. He was definitely a Fairfax homer, and of course we liked to do Robinson, and we liked to do we didn't do Lake Braddock too much because at the time, whoever it was that was Francis didn't want us in the booth. He's like, you take up too much room in the booth. So yeah, I know. I'm like, dude, we're just trying to give your kids some, television. And he's like, hey, we have too many people in the stands. You're going to take up room on the stands with the cameras, and that loses us people stand. I said, they're going to come in and buy a ticket whether we're there or not. In fact, I suggest you'll have more people if we're telling people that we're going to be there. More people are going to come to the game. So your Francis's logic did not, and I'm calling him out right here on this little show, but it's his logic didn't fit. And then when he went to Westfield, I think that's when he realized, okay, it's good having these guys, and we used to go into Westfield quite a bit.
Yeah, there's some folks who make an effort to broadcast. What I'm hoping is that what happened here and happening in other places around the country is that because of the pandemic, folks got into streaming events so that everybody can see them. And I hope that folks have gotten comfortable in continually providing that content.
I agree.
And now it's a little different that players can advertise and market and brand themselves because programs like Huddle and 24/7 allow them to find their plays, put video packages together for a pretty reasonable price, and then they can put those packages together and send them out.
Right.
They can send them out. They can send them out to regional folks, Division I coaches, etc. So hopefully in this thing, this pandemic has allowed people to become streaming familiar with the concept. Most schools in Texas, Nebraska, Salt Lake are streaming every game.
Yeah. Yep.
They may not, they may not be advertising it as well, but
right.
There's definitely a market for and a reason for, more important.
Yeah.
Reason to give, and these are our kids. So we should be pushing.
That's what I'm saying. But here's another thing we used to hear from coaches. Yeah, I don't like the other team we're going to play next week to have an extra look at our team.
They should. I'm like, anyway, like it's so weird.
I'm like, what?
They're going to see. They're going to show you.
But the mindset. You know the mindset, though.
Yeah,
right?
I know. I probably know who it was. Like that. Like that's probably part of the conversation that happened. But the agreement, there's a gentleman's agreement that we share tape anyway, and you go to other folks. Listen, I don't care that my opponent is going to watch this. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do against you. If I've coached them right, we'll be able to do it anyway. Right. So, that was the deal. Like when I went to TC, when I walked in the building, their coaches knew what I did before I got there. Like we talked about it before the game even started, whether it was baseball, football, basketball. Hey, you're gonna run that trap against me? Yeah, we're gonna
run it.
We're gonna run it, bro. We're gonna.
Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it?
Try you third baseman. We're gonna bunt against them. We're gonna, so all of it is excuses to not do right for the top and main reason why we're there, which is those young people. Right. And the adults will find a reason not to do what they should be doing. But in the end, it's up to the adults to do right by those kids across the board.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just like, like the Redskins back in the day. We're going to go right. We're going to run Riggins to the right there. Right here. He's going to run right here. Mm-hmm. Stop us. Mm-hmm. And they couldn't.
There's a lot to be said for being sure rather than being unsure.
Well, and that's, we used to have, but however you feel about it, we used to have Mark and Pete Bendorf were on a show I created called Bendorf Bench. Oh. And they would come in and we'd take calls and have guests and stuff like that with those two guys. And I loved working with those two guys. They seemed for me to have really their kids in mind. And I know that their philosophy was, we win great games in the weight room. And so, those guys had their guys in the weight room all the time. And you know what? Usually when you played Robinson or Oakton and now Westfield, because Pete's out there helping out with Westfield, dude, that offensive line and that defensive line dominated you. I mean, in most cases.
Yeah, it's the weight room is necessary, but I look at it this way. I like to win most games in the classroom.
Sure.
Because a student athlete who's willing to focus in a thing that is good for him but may not feel good for him will then do what's required on the athletic field. Like I know I would much rather coach a group of smart, good-hearted players than massive weightlifting folks who have their ego about them. Now, if I can get them both, I'm all for that. Like if I can get them both.
Yeah.
It's the adage that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Yeah. But if you have talent that works hard, then boom.
Right? So through all of that, it should be I show up, and I know that it's important for me to show up for the young people because that's what they need.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What they hope is that my word is valid and that my heart is true. So if I say I'm here for you, then I can't no show.
Yeah.
And then my actions have to match what I've said, which is, listen, I'm going to love you and I'm going to love you for your good. For your good.
Right.
I'm not in this for the income. Coaches are never in it. Teachers are not in it for the income. We're in it for the outcome. And if you ever hear a coach or a teacher or an educator talk about the money, make them refocus.
Right.
Because they're telling you that they've lost focus.
Right.
And it's about look, we've lived our lives, we've made our mistakes. I tell players all the time, I made mistakes so you don't have to. So that you don't have to. Look, I've done this. All the stuff that you're going through. We've already been through. We've already lived this. We were there when the playbooks were written. Like
you know what my dad used to say to me all the time? One of the things he used to say to me is this: "Boy, do you think I was 15 and then I was 17 and I was never 16?"
Yeah.
You know, he would say, or whatever age I was, he said, "You think that I was 15 and then I was 17 and I didn't have to experience 16? No, I did." You know,
we went through it, and that's ultimately the best coaches, the greatest coaches, the Red Jenkins of the world, the Del Norwoods of the world. What I know about them is that they often press young people for their own good at their own expense. Yeah.
Jerry Pannoni, National Coach of the Year.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's when you're doing, listen, when you're producing good kids and you're sending them out into the universe as good kids, like it's that thing. It's important that Westfield, Centerville, that their reputation is such, because their reputation is Northern Virginians. O'Connell, DeMatha, Gonzaga, those schools are Wakefield, Washington Liberty. All of them are statements because those people go out into the world. They travel, they leave Northern Virginia, and then they represent the DMV, and specifically Northern Virginia. And then it's a statement that, wow, Northern Virginia is sending well-formed, well-educated, well-taught, well-rounded individuals into the universe. And that's the job. That's the real job.
Yeah.
To go, you don't want somebody to go, hey, you're one of Lee Bailey's kids, and then they lean away. You don't want you don't want it to go, oh, you went there? Oh, that's
right.
No,
right.
I want people decades from now, again, as we talked about last week, the fires that we're never going to see, that people will say, you know what? There's this guy. His name was Lee Bailey, and he loved me so much, man. He loved me so much. Yeah. If you get one of those, man, that's good stuff.
Just one. I mean, it was just one. It's good enough. I mean, I want to say that I feel like that's been the case. I've had kids tell me that, and it's just one of those things. I mean, you want kids to understand that you have we've talked about this before, that you have their best interest at heart. And, and when they know that, it makes a huge difference, and they work harder for you. They do more. I remember one year I made, when we did I did player of the year. I was the coach. I was an interim coach for the year for varsity soccer, men's soccer. And I did coach of the year, and I gave it to Gustavo Valencia. And I tell you, he was a good player. He wasn't the guy, our star, who was going to the Naval Academy and, scored average of at least one goal a game, at least throughout the season. He was fantastic. He was great. But Gustavo got my player of the year award or the coach's award. He got the coach's award, not player of the year, because that would have been that kid if it was player of the year. But it was coach's award. And I remember some of my kids who had been from the previous administration, you might say, they were a little pissy. The seniors, a couple of the seniors were a little pissy that I didn't name this kid, who I loved, and I still have a great relationship. But I said Gustavo because Gustavo got there when I was there. He got there early, helped me set up cones, whatnot, for different things. And then he stayed after and helped pick up balls, and he carried the balls back in the building for me. This kid was my kid. He loved me and I loved him, and he was so good at just his heart, And of course, he was going to get my coach's award. He worked harder than anybody else.
We all have those people, right?
Yeah.
And I have several, especially there in Fairfax County. Kevin Gear, who was a baseball captain, who is now a Fairfax County police officer. There's a guy, Joey Cronlich, who's ROTC down at University of Florida. And whenever I saw him, I got him as a freshman. And whenever I saw him, I would yell, my dude Joey, because I knew that Joey was going to be right. He was going to be on time, and he was going to lead. He was going to get other people there. It's across the board. It's all these guys who all they wanted was to lead.
Yeah,
they wanted things done right, and they helped. And we knew. Here's the other thing, Lee. We have to, in this position that we're in, we have to give these young kids permission to love. We have to give them permission to be loved.
Yeah.
All right? That it's that thing where sometimes they need an adult outside of their circle to tell them it's okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's okay to look out for other people. It's cool to make love cool. It's not easy
that's
to
right.
do with teenagers. But my thing was, I tell them day one, I'm going to love you. Even when I'm mad at you, I'm going to love you.
Yeah, and that's not going to change.
Right. And that's important. Freeing up, giving people the freedom. And we know we have friends, mutual friends, that we could say, you know what? We have to remind them to love. That's what we're doing. And this leadership thing, this love thing is all the time. It's not restricted to young people, but it's focused on young people, because if we get them early, we don't have to get them late.
Right, exactly. And, and like you said, too, we have to give them permission. But, I think we also have to be, as coaches and as a leader to these young people, we have to lead by example. We have to show them what love is. They don't know what love is at that age. When do we, that is the hard part. How do you explain and show that? And I think it's just by walking your daily walk and saying hello and good morning and talking to them and giving them I don't know where it went wrong. Well, I do. It went wrong with people who are freaking drive me crazy. But a touch, a kid on the back, give him a slap on his pads, give him a slap on his head. When he doesn't, when it's just practice, you give him a good pat on the back, or you put your hand on his shoulder. Huge. That's so huge for the young men especially. Young ladies, yes, also for sure. But young men need that touch. That's totally loving and caring touch. Not, oh gosh, I hate to even think about how people have misconstrued and screwed with that to screw it all up. But
I'll say this. That having coached boys and girls.
Yeah.
I say that they all need touch.
Absolutely. No. Absolutely.
By that I mean, and this goes back to love practice. That when you're shown and given knowledge of authentic love,
yes,
real love, that doesn't require anything of them,
yes,
then when the other kind of love, fake love, shows up, you recognize it. And it's our job. Who better than for me to teach a high school where, you know what? The kind of love I'm talking about is safety, is comfort, is you in your skin, recognizing that there's a male that could come up to you that will acknowledge in mutual space. You know what mutual feels like. You know what respect feels like.
Yes.
You know what being considered feels like. And so when that other creepy dude shows up, it doesn't feel the same, it doesn't sound the same, and it doesn't look the same. And it's important to give that to these young women, and then to give it to the young men so that they understand the same. Like, it's the same. To go, this is what, when an adult male approaches you, generally connecting with you and saying, young man, whether it's a high five, pat on the back, a nod, a smile. We, as the adults in the room, have to set the temperature. And we have to show them and give them knowledge of what the good stuff looks like, so that they recognize the other when it shows up.
That's right.
Important and it's vital.
Absolutely.
That's how we roll.
And, as far as young ladies are concerned, because I've coached young ladies as well, and I've also worked with youth groups and things like that. As far as young ladies are concerned, they need to have that person who, like you said, is safe, and who they can go to. That's where you find that, I don't go to young ladies, but if they come to me, I'm open and ready to talk to them about whatever they need. If they need a hug and they come in for one, I'm going to let them hug. I'm not going to, I'll make sure. I used to be a Santa. I know where my hands go. I make sure that everything's out and above. And I have to be aware of but unfortunately, we have to be really aware of that because it can be so misconstrued. I mean, just to look the wrong way, and a parent, that protective parent.
But I'm okay with that parent checking that as well.
Sure. No, I agree.
Look, my thing is this: I would tell people all the time, bring me your parents, and I'll be the same coach in front of them as I am in private.
Absolutely.
And I want you to know what this is and to be clear about it. We would often have some men's teams practice with women's teams. And ultimately what would happen, the players, we would have that discussion. Well, how do I guard this? You guard her like a basketball.
Like you guard her like a player.
You guard her like a player. And then we'll deal with that. And then what happened was a mutual respect happened because we got two individuals to meet in the same space and get to the same place, which is all we're really trying to do is to make them comfortable with themselves and make them comfortable with others and know very simply that this is a good space and this is not.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, I remember we used to split the field up at Lake Braddock. Lake Braddock now, the Burke Sports League paid for a new turf field behind the Lake Braddock bleachers.
Yeah.
And it's up there now. I don't know if you've been in the area since they put that in, but we used to have half the field for practice. And this girls' team that was 2 years older than my boys had the other half of the field. Well, we used to do this every week, and one day, when the guys started getting better, they were pretty much, some of them were brand new to soccer and stuff like that. But I was getting my guys, they were getting good. And I said to the coach of the girls' team, I said, hey, you want to scrimmage? And so I told the boys, and they were all like, no, what? They're freaking out, right? So I said, just guard them like you would do like you would do. And let me tell you something. After that game, every freaking week they would say, can we scrimmage the girls? Can we scrimmage the girls? I mean, they didn't want no part of it the first time I said we were going to do this. But they liked playing with the girls. They loved it because the girls were a little bit better than them, but they gave them a challenge, and the kids and the boys, that was, if they scored, they freaked, I was like, God, we scored on them, and anyway, it was great that they, at first, because the girls were like 15, 16, and my guys were like 13 or 14, and they were getting really good at soccer, but I think they really improved playing with those girls. Those girls showed them how to pass the ball instead of just trying to score a goal every time. And, and the coach of the girls team was a good friend. And so we had a good time. It was fun.
Yeah, it's truly a missed opportunity. And I love it when people cross over and do right by the young people and make them better. It just changes the vantage of perspective. It's necessary sometimes.
Yeah. Listen, we are out of time, brother. We didn't get a chance to talk about the collapse of the Kansas City Chiefs and the refereeing.
Yeah.
Not going to get into all that. But
we'll get it next week. We got time.
Yeah, no doubt. But Tom Brady was Tom Brady. I didn't expect anything less. Nope. I expected nothing less from him than who he was. I just expected a whole lot more from Kansas City. And, of course, I think the defense of Tampa Bay kind of stepped up a little bit more than they usually do. So, but anyway, that is how that works. My good friend Derrick Pearson, thank you so much. Have a good time on your show this morning. Give everybody a shout out and tell them
we're gonna have Johnny Holiday on today.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. Yeah, Johnny comes on once a
Johnny
week.
Holiday. Hi, everybody. It's Johnny Holiday.
Yeah, he comes on once a week. Our listeners
awesome.
love him. Yeah.
Oh my God. He's great. Yeah, and your listeners don't even really know Johnny Holiday. I mean, Johnny Holiday, they maybe know him now. Okay.
Yeah, he's done 50 shows. They know him now.
I've watched him doing regional sports. You know, he's the guy at Maryland, and you know, oh my gosh, I loved it. I think I saw him at a Nats game, and I had my oxygen and everything. You know, this before my transplant, and I'm walking, and then all of a sudden I look up. I said, Johnny Holiday, like that, and he was like, yeah. You know, and we chat. I said, man, I used to love watching you, whatever. And then I told him about having my radio show, and I'd love to have him on. He said, contact whoever it was. I forget now, but you know, contact them, and I'd love to come be on your show. So
he's a good dude.
He's awesome.
He did once, and he's been on every week. He does once a week.
That's awesome. He's an awesome guy. Johnny Holiday. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome.
One of my favorite folks. Yeah, he's a good dude.
No doubt. All right, brother. Thank you, sir. You're awesome. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Have a great day. All right. Everybody, good night, good day, whatever it is, wherever you are. Be encouraged with Lee and Derrick on Tuesdays. Don't forget, 10 a.m. Tell your friends.